Is it possible to record an entire album in just 1 week? Let's find out. So here's how I got the idea. I was home alone and pretty bored because my girlfriend was out of town, she was on holiday, and I was looking for ways to keep myself busy. And the idea popped in my head if it was possible, even possible, to record an entire album within a week's time. So the first thing I needed to know, how many songs do you need in order for something to be recognized as an album? Now, most music platforms agree that an album requires a minimum of 7 songs. Some say you need 8 songs, some say you need 6 songs, but let's stick to 7 for this challenge, as it also is the amount of days in a week. Now, recording an entire album in under 7 days is something I have never done before, and the goal is to start with a completely blank canvas, so I can't use any of the songs that I've already written. It's gonna be totally from scratch. So what pops in my head will be the song, and the song has never popped in my head before. And I'm very curious what I can come up with in the shortest amount of time. So in order to make the recording process as easy as possible, I came up with some ground rules. Rule number 1. Create and record 7 songs within 7 days. This is the goal, obviously. Rule number 2. Only use direct plugins. For this challenge, I'm mainly going to use my MIDI keyboard and my electric guitar, which I plug in directly to my Focusrite. I think it's the easiest way to just make some sounds in quick succession, because they can already be plugged in and I don't have to switch any instruments or work with amps or any external devices. Rule number 3. Use as few instruments as possible. I think this speaks for itself. It actually saves me a lot of time if I use as less instruments as possible. But don't worry, it's going to be like a full instrumental, bombastic album anyways. Rule number 4. Only apply vocals when necessary. I thought I'd focus on instrumentals first, and then if we have some good instrumental foundation, I'm just going to try and spit some lyrics on it, whenever it pops in my head. Rule number 5. Use vocals sparingly. Now I'm doing this to save time from writing a lot of lyrics. As I said, the lyrics are... It's hard. Rule number 6. It doesn't have to be perfect. There are a lot of producers out there that want to create the perfect song. Every instrument having the perfect sound, with every vocal being perfectly in tune. I think that's not gonna work, in a week's time. So we have to throw perfection out of the window. And rule number 7. Mixing happens afterwards. I'm going to mix it afterwards, and maybe I'll be done in 1 week, maybe I won't, but we'll just see what happens, okay? So with my ground rules in place, I went to work. So in order to make this process as efficient as possible, I'm setting up my entire gear in the most ideal location in my house, the living room, as it offers the most space. After hooking up my laptop, external monitor and audio interface, I'm also lining up all the instruments I'm going to use, mainly the MIDI keyboard and my Stratocaster, so I can switch between them quickly. This was the basic outline on how I approached the recording process. So every song starts off with a predefined BPM and a quick drum loop. For this, I either used the drum sampler or an artificial drummer in Logic Pro. After the drum loop is complete, I use a MIDI keyboard to come up with the bass line of the song. There are some exceptions where I use my regular bass guitar, but most of the songs have the same type of bass in them to keep the album consistent. And then I can move on to the next section, which is the electric guitar. Enter the American Stratocaster. As the MIDI bass lays out the low frequency foundation of the song, the guitar is here to lay down the mid and the more high range basses. Now, I usually start off my songs with a guitar, so having the bass line first is a nice challenge for me for coming up with a chord progression that fits the bass line. Basically, the drums, the MIDI bass and the guitar form the foundation of the song, and then we can experiment, adding some layers or leaving out some layers, Maybe some extra guitar parts, maybe some extra MIDI parts, maybe some strings, maybe some smooth guitar solos, here and there. Anything to make the song a little bit more fuller before I start on the final part, which is the vocals. Because I had to work fast for this one, I saved the vocals for last. I found that the best way to record an original vocal is not to listen to the song beforehand. When I started on the first song, I hadn't heard it for a while, at least for a few days. So when I listen it to the first time, I make sure that my mic is recording. And usually the first thing that comes to mind is the best vocal line you can come up with. And it's also easier because it saves a lot of time. And here's how the process went. So I started recording the instrumentals for the first song on Saturday afternoon. Then I worked my way up to Sunday and stopped at about 3 in the morning. On Sunday I got up at 10 and continued recording right away. At the end of the day, I had about 5 instrumental tracks ready to go. I finished the last 2 instrumental tracks on Monday and tried to write down my first ideas for lyrics. Then, from Tuesday to Wednesday, I wrote and recorded all the vocals, trying not to waste any precious time. Oh, yeah, and I did this all in between my regular work hours. While still finishing up the last vocals, I started the mixing process and mixed my way until Friday evening. Besides making the tracks sound good, I also added some more dynamics to them by adding or subtracting small details in the track. By Saturday morning, we were all done. So all we needed now was just one more thing. The album cover. I like this entire project. I tried to keep things simple, and this was really simple. I just took a picture that I shot a week before on my phone when I was on holiday with my girlfriend. I put like a really mild filter on it, I slapped some text on it, and it was done. So now, maybe the most important part of this whole video, the songs themselves. You want to hear this shit? You really want to hear this shit? Alright, let's start.
Mariachi smile. Down by the river, we be acting wild. Sticks and stones, lick my bone. I'ma do that shit on the microphone. You got me all loco,
like the flames that's in the fire.
you got me all loco,
My heart is burning with desire.
you got me all loco,
When there's nothing left to say,
you got me all loco.
yeah, you know I'm acting crazy.
don't you know? To where the wild things grow is alright. Step onto the moon and make them flowers bloom with your light. Fizzles turn out great if you learn how to fly. If the entire land will be a better man just tonight. So why don't you say yourself while you still can? 1, 2, 3, 4. Clouds are passing us by, sunshine kissing your eyes. Wanna fly with you into the night, into the future. I'll wait for you till the early morning. I'll wait for you till the early morning. I'll wait for you till the early morning. I'll wait for you till the early morning.
Kiss me slowly, fade away. Kiss me slowly, fade away. Away, away. Away, away. When you need it the most, there is always a way. I just wanted to find you with every step that you take. You always seem to take my breath away. You always seem to take my breath away. I never really liked it to go away, to go away. So I'm staying right here in my own place, in my own place. Oh, the grass is always greener on the other side, but I don't mind to stay inside. 'Cause seasons change so fast, but I am
So can you record an album in 7 days? Yes. Yes, you can. Will it be the best album you've ever made? Probably not. Will it be a really nice experience? Probably not. But it was worth it, you know? And I think I learned a lot. And I think some of the songs could turn out to be pretty classic. Who knows? So there you have it, guys. Thanks for listening. And stay classy.